Hello, dear followers. Today we embark on a journey not just of an ordinary video, but one filled with information that can change your life. We delve deep into a question we all wonder about, but often can't find the answer to. What is wealth? And how is it acquired? Get ready to discover the secrets of financial independence with the inspiring story of Robert Kiyosaki. This video is not just about information, but also offers an experience that can transform your life. If you're ready, let's start this exciting adventure. Imagine quitting your job. How long could you survive on the money you've saved? The question I ask you is actually the answer to what wealth is. Here's Robert Kiyosaki, an American entrepreneur, businessman, author, motivational speaker, and financial analyst. His estimated net worth recently reached $100 million. Want to know an unknown fact? Kiyosaki didn't come from a wealthy family. Instead, his family was like many others, working hard but lacking financial education and often facing financial troubles. Now, let's look at Robert's story of becoming rich today. Born in April 1947 in Hilo, Hawaii, as Robert Kiyosaki explains in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of the best-selling books on financial literacy, his journey began. In 1957, at just 9 years old, young Robert attended a public school where children from rich families also studied, including many doctors, business owners, and bankers in the city. Robert noticed that the rich kids were different from him. His family couldn't afford the latest toys and bikes like theirs. One day, Robert asked his father, a man with excellent university degrees and a PhD, "Dad, how can I find the way to be rich?" Sadly, his father didn't know the right answer, as he wasn't wealthy. So he advised, "Use your head, son. Succeed in school, get good grades so you can find a safe and stable job." This man, later referred to as Poor Dad, wasn't poor at the time and even earned a good income, but his financial life was on a downward spiral. Now, let's see Mike's father, a friend of young Robert. This man, later known as Rich Dad, began teaching Robert and his son Mike how to truly become wealthy. At that time, Rich Dad wasn't actually rich yet, but he would soon become one of the wealthiest men in Hawaii. What did Rich Dad teach Robert? He imparted powerful financial principles into the young minds of these boys. The first lesson you need to know is to understand the difference between an asset and a liability, and to acquire assets. If you aim to be wealthy, this is crucial knowledge you really need to understand. You see, while the rich buy assets, the poor and middle class often acquire liabilities, mistaking them for assets. The root cause of financial hardship is simply not understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. Ah, right. You don't know what an asset or a liability is, do you? An asset is something that puts money in our pocket. A liability, on the other hand, takes money out of our pocket. Let's look at a typical individual's cash flow model. They earn their income from a job, and their expenses include food, clothing, entertainment, transportation, and more. Unfortunately, they have no assets, but continuous liabilities that drain their wallet. These liabilities include taxes, credit cards, loans, and believe it or not, even owning a home. Now let's take a real look at how the cash flow model works for the rich. Instead of trying to earn more money from regular jobs, they buy and own assets that provide passive income. Passive income is money earned without spending your time. In other words, you can make money even while sleeping. Examples of assets include businesses that don't require constant interference, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, income-generating real estate, copyrights, notes, and other valuable things that generate income. As mentioned before, Poor Dad earned quite a lot from his job, but his expenses always balanced out his income. Therefore, he couldn't seize the opportunity to invest in assets. As a result, liabilities like loans and credit card debts grew over time. This was due to the mistake of income equaling expenses and liabilities exceeding assets. Sadly, the consequences of this mistake led to debt even after the Poor Dad's death. On the other hand, Rich Dad's financial statement reflects a life focused on investment and minimizing liabilities. As a result, his assets were greater than his liabilities, making his income exceed his expenses. This is the practical reason why the rich get richer. Their assets generate enough income to cover expenses, and the surplus is reinvested in the asset column. The asset column continues to grow, and thus, income increases. You see, both fathers worked hard, but they adopted opposite attitudes and thoughts. One father suggested that hard work would enable working at a good company. The other said hard work could pave the way to owning a good company. One said, "The reason I'm not rich is because of my kids." The other said, "The reason I must be rich is because of you kids." One said, "Be cautious with money and don't take risks." The other said, "Learn how to manage risks." One said, "I can't afford it." The other asked, "How can I afford it?" Both men valued education and learning, but they had different thoughts on what needed to be learned. Robert learned the realities of the general population from Rich Dad, that their lives are constantly controlled by feelings of fear and greed, thus trapping people in the same routine: get up, go to work, pay bills, get up, go to work, and pay bills. Fear traps people in the cycle of work, earn money, work, earn money, desperately hoping to escape the fear of not having money. Instead of facing fear, instead of using their heads, they react emotionally. Another emotion is desire. Some call it greed. This is the second reason why people work for money. The desire for money is in pursuit of the happiness it can buy. However, the happiness money brings is often short-lived, soon needing more money for more happiness, more pleasure, more comfort, more security. You see, the same fear and desire drive many people to be so eager to go to school for a higher-paying job. But don't lose heart, education and jobs are important. However, they won't address this fear directly. To deal with fear, you need to understand the power of money and not be afraid of it. Unfortunately, most schools don't teach this, and if you don't learn it, you can become enslaved to money. Ignorance about money can lead to excessive greed and excessive fear. This can drag you into the trap of constant work. Rich Dad always says, "Learn to use your emotions to think, not think with your emotions." Examples of emotional thinking are, "I need to find another job," or "I deserve a raise," or "I want this job because it's secure." Instead, it's important to think clearly. Ask if something is missing here. For most people, the reality is that your profession is your income. For the rich, it's your assets. Apply these lessons to your life, because if you stopped working today, think about how long you could survive. You could smile at me and say you no longer work for money, but money works for you. If that's the case, great. Thank you for watching. If you want to see more useful videos, click the like and subscribe buttons. See you soon.